Здравствуйте, Namaskar. Progressive Russian intellectuals have always demarcated their own position in the history of humanity because of their democratic and human attitude for any social and cultural programs. They faced many problems at different stages of the history of human civilization, but always they stood by the people for the cause of world humanity. Today we'll be focusing on such people who left their own country but worked for the people of other country far from their own land. We all know that by the end of the 19th century, approximately in the year 1896, or a little earlier even, the epidemic plague broke out in India. Though it is true that from the 17th century, even much earlier also, this epidemic, known as plague and cholera together, they massacred civil society, poor people particularly. And during this time, when Indian people were almost helpless, they got support and assistance from the Russian doctors, from the Russian physicians, from the epidemiologists of Russia. Perhaps you know about the name of Dr. Mechnikov, who was eminent physician and medical scientist. Today, the most important and the prominent medical institute in Russia is named after him. He was the teacher of the Novorossiya University, where one of his favorite students was no one else but Vladimir HAFFKINE. They were very close to each other, and Mechnikov, he was very vocal for the people of his country, of his own countrymen, and also for the people of the world. When plague broke out, at that time at the 12th Congress of the International Conference of the Medical Practitioners and Physicians, Dr. Mechnikov spoke on behalf of the Russian delegation and also spoke with the directives from the Louis Pasteur Institute of Paris. He spoke for the necessity of counterattack or counter the plague epidemic and the cholera epidemic. And he was supported by others. But little earlier, when he was asked to leave his post from this university, his favorite students stood in support of him. They didn't want their teacher to leave the institute. And Dr. Hafkin was one of them. 7 students wrote to the authority who were known for their opinion, for their preference with the radical group Narodnya Volia or People's Voice. And that's why they were marked by the police, and they were also rusticated from the university. Dr. Mechnikov had no problem. He was invited by the Pasteur Institute in France. He went there, and soon after he also called his favorite student, Dr. Hafkin. They worked there together, and within a short period of time, Dr. Hafkin invented the vaccine for plague and also for the cholera. By this time, This vaccine was used in some parts of the country, but at the initial stage, when no one believed Dr. Hafkin, he did a wonderful thing. He put the vaccine first on his own body, and after 6 weeks, he showed it to the people that the antivirus is functioning in his body and he is protected from the cholera disease. Like that, when he, along with others, were asked to come to India to support the local people, many eminent doctors and medical scientists, they came to India batch by batch. They went directly to the poor people where they were suffering and treated them. And when Dr. Hafkin came to India, he brought 40,000 vaccine with him. And he started helping the poor Indian people in those days. At the initial stage, even when he started working on it, people were much afraid of him. But he did one interesting thing when he was in Bengal, when he was asked to go to the village for the treatment. People were afraid of him, even it went to such extent that some people started throwing stones at him. And he did request others not to chase away the people, but he took off his jacket and his shirt and he vaccinated himself in front of the people. People gradually came to him and half of the village were vaccinated by him. He also did a miracle when in Mumbai the plague was an epidemic. He created the vaccine there itself, took there, and personally he vaccinated more than 25,000 people. He also created vaccine for the people of Bombay and Maharashtra, nearly 1.5 lakh. But after that, with the help of the Indian doctors and his assistants, he made more than 12 lakhs of vaccines. He used on the poor people who were not in a position to get any other treatment. However, one incident took place in one village in 1902 when the people who were vaccinating who were not properly trained. Actually, it seems that because of them, some people died of tetanus. People were furious. Even the British authority were against Hafkin at that time. And with a heavy heart, he left India. But very soon, immediately on his departure, the British authority understood their mistake and they apologized openly, even in the newspaper, like an advertisement, that they are very sorry. Dr. Hafkin again came to India, particularly in Bengal, in Kolkata. Here he treated millions for vaccination against cholera, and he was working with heavy heart because he was insulted. He felt insulted earlier because of the previous incident, as I mentioned. As the date of his retirement was coming, he left India, but his name is ever etched in the minds of the Indian people. The Bombay Institute of Epidemiology was named after him, and British government, when he was working here, they made him the director of the institute also. However, unfortunately in Kolkata, we do not have any plaque dedicated to that great soul. This great soul who left India went back and lived in Switzerland after that, and there he donated $500,000 for the poor students, for the talented students. And he is remembered by the people always all over the world as a great soul who supported the people, who stood by the people. And India should never forget, because as an eminent scientist and physician, he created a new bondage, a new faith on the Russian people, on the Russian society, for which we are indebted to him. Thank you. We shall meet again. Till then, Das Vedanya. Punardarshanaya.